Hello, everybody.
That was so unappealing.
Wow.
That was welcoming.
Clear your throat.
What episode are we on?
17.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 17th episode of the Geekcast podcast. My name is Greg St. Clair.
Dan Whitehead.
Patrick, I'm fucking with my mic here. Sorry.
That's a long name. Are you Spanish?
Patrick Howard fucking with my mic here.
I got the little accent on the
Esquire. We were just talking about Dan was watching a movie. He was telling us about that, and I think this is also your pick of the week, too. So
Yeah.
we're going to go into that.
We're going to go jump right into it. All right.
Jump right into it.
And then we were also talking about Revenant, which we can talk about later. But
Yeah.
So my pick of the week comes with a very big warning to you because it is not for the faint at heart, I guess. Not for the weak stomach. Thank you. That's a better description. Basically, it's a horror western called Bone Tomahawk. And it stars Kurt Russell, Patrick Wilson, Matt Fox, Richard Jenkins, very big cast. David Arquette has a part in it as well. And it follows four men who basically have to go after these horrific cannibalistic savages. They don't even look like anything like Native Americans, even though they, of course, assume they're Native American. But after some of their townspeople go missing, they go in search of them after it's like a 5-day trek that they do in 3 days or something like that. With their horses and whatever. And was more interesting was Patrick Wilson's character was actually injured in the movie. So he has a broken ankle or something like that. So the whole movie he's on a crutch and they're traveling with them and all that stuff. So it adds a lot of challenge to them. It's not just let's just ride out and fight off these savages. The reason, I won't go into spoilers, but the reason it's very gruesome is obviously it's cannibals. And so you see them getting into a little bit of preparing their dinner. And obviously it's a human that they're doing it to. So it's a little weird to watch, a little hard to swallow. But
You know what's hard to swallow? Horse pills.
I bet.
Yeah.
So I knew you were going to make a joke. As soon as I said hard to swallow, I was like, here comes a joke from Greg. Very predictable.
But you laughed a little bit, didn't you? Didn't you laugh just a little bit?
I laughed because I want to move on.
No, that's not true. Don't listen to him.
Okay. So visually it looks really good. It's really well acted all around. Very stellar cast. Worth checking out. But when you're done with it, watch something comedic. I had to do that. As soon as I turned it off, I was like, okay. I finished watching the show Young and Hungry that I was watching with Emily Osment, and then I was like, all right, American Dad. I needed light things. I was like, I can't watch this.
She's hot.
She is so hot.
She's really hot.
That was the reason I started the show, and then I was like, this is actually moderately entertaining. I want to watch more of it. It was on Netflix. I watched season 1 was 10 episodes. Mm-hmm. And then now it's kind of well, I'm a season into it. I got to watch the second season. So I watched the second season when it was on, and then I caught up to it now, which was 20 episodes or whatever. So now I'm waiting for season 3. And now I guess that happens a lot. It's the same thing with for the Hunger Games, why I watched the first Hunger Games. I didn't really care about the story. I didn't read the books. I didn't have that attachment. But I was like, yeah, it's Jennifer Lawrence. I dig her a lot.
You're I never really got into the movies. But I still liked him, but I never really cared.
I cared for her character, and that was really it.
Honestly,
PETA. Team PETA.
I was Team Gale.
I only watched it because of Jennifer
Team
Lawrence, but
PETA.
even Katniss as a character, at least in the movies, just didn't really spark any interest for me.
Yeah, her character was very hit or miss for me. Sometimes she was interesting, and sometimes she was
probably not, but downstairs it sparked a little bit of interest, right?
I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah.
So inappropriate. No, but yeah. So those movies are very up and down for me. I thought the second one was the strongest of the 4, and the other, I don't know. They just seem kind of played out, the idea. And the same thing. I'm not watching more of the Divergent series, even though I like Shailene Woodley, and I saw the first one. Huh?
Cheyenne.
Isn't it Shailene?
Yeah, Shailene.
The way it's spelled is Shailene. Either way, however you say it. It didn't interest me enough to want to see it.
The Scorch Trials, they're all starting to look the same.
Mm-hmm.
It's where
they might as well be the same
they're prepping
movie.
for a crossover or something.
Yeah, that's why I'm kind of getting tired of the chosen one to save the world kind of a thing.
Do you mean every story that's ever been written ever?
No, but these are different. It's dystopian world where things are shitty, but yet there's this one chosen one person who's supposed to who's
with
usually
the really
under
played
30,
out individualism theme.
right? Where they're like challenged by if they have missing parents or
Dude, that's the thing, man. That's the archetype.
I guess it's the same thing as I
know,
could say
like,
I'm tired of superhero movies, but that I'm not.
That zeitgeist
So-
I'm getting tired of.
It's just that shtick, that storyline. There's phases that things come and go in movies. We were just talking about westerns. Westerns were popular from the 30s to the 80s, and now they pop up every once in a while, right? So, but they're just not the norm. Now it's superheroes is the norm for a while, and I bet you we'll get another solid maybe 10 years out of superhero movies, and then we'll probably start to see them, fizzle by the wayside. I don't know what's next. Whatever the next, probably video game movies. I don't really know.
Assassin's Creed's coming out.
Right, and that could be at the start of it, because it seems like in the past when they've tried to do video game movies, they don't usually work too well. So I think Assassin's Creed could be a nice.
They always try to adapt the story in the video games. That never seems to work out. They just need to create like a whole new story.
Right, with the visuals.
With the visuals and familiar tropes from the game.
Right.
That should make it
Again, great ideas from the Geekcast.
Yeah.
We actually got and Patrick, I think you were the one that commented on it first. We actually kind of got like a shout out from a kid I graduated a year after from in school, where when we saw, I think it was Batman vs Superman trailer, which we're going to talk about.
We will talk
here.
about it later.
He asked our opinion, like tagged Geekcast in, and like, what are your thoughts?
Yeah,
so I was like,
that,
I guess people do care about our opinions. Yeah. We have one, so thank you, Pat. Different Pat.
Okay.
Thank you for caring about our interests, and I hope we answered your question. I think it was, what are your thoughts on the trailer and stuff, and you'll get them today. So,
Patrick?
My pick of the week is the movie Krampus, which came out this past Friday.
You saw it?
I did see it.
I'm excited. Should I be excited to hear this?
Honestly, I thought it was okay.
I was worried when I saw Adam Scott in the cast.
Well, honestly, that's why I wanted to see it, because I really like Adam Scott.
I do too, but like if I want a Krampus movie, I want like a sick, demented, fucked up Krampus movie.
And actually, you bring that up, that's the reason why it's okay, because it's rated PG-13, and this movie should have been rated R, because you feel like the director who also directed the anthology film Trick or Treat, who like he does like a good job in that movie. That I've heard that it's almost like a big celebration of Halloween. And it's kind of in here. It's also kind of like a big celebration of Christmas, and I think and how it feels. Just when it's not like that, it also feels like a very sick and like kind of demented time of the year when it's all about commercialism and just people hating on each other. And there were certainly entertaining moments, especially in the middle, especially with Krampus's minions that like just wreak havoc. It's very reminiscent of like Gremlins, and also a little mix of like National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation with the in-laws. Except these guys aren't really that funny or likable. They're just a little too hateful.
Almost?
Yeah, annoying. And honestly, it would have worked if the kid in the movie who, tears up his letter to Santa Claus and like throws it out the window and gets caught up in the air, and then that summons the Krampus to like wreak havoc. It would have honestly. I thought it would have worked better if he was like the brat who hated Christmas, and the family were the ones who kind of understood the point of it.
right.
Therefore, he would have an arc, because the kid doesn't really have an arc. He doesn't really have that much to learn. It's really the family. But then the family actually has to like band together to survive, and I actually would have cared about them more. But yeah, there are a lot of problems, but there are a few moments that actually are genuinely entertaining and funny, and I at least recommend those.
I think my favorite version of Krampus is the one that American Dad did a couple of years ago.
I didn't see that one.
It was like Stan's dad was the reason that like Krampus was put away for so long, and then they brought, and so I think Steve helped Krampus escape or something. But that storyline was really, really entertaining.
Well done for an animated cartoon.
Also,
Yeah, it was comedic, but at the same time, it's like the Seth MacFarlane harshly, comedic styles. But I liked that, and I would have liked to seen that version just turn some like dark, twisted movie. It's kind of what I was hoping for on that.
Actually, this might be a bit of a spoiler, but there is actually a bit of an animation segment in the movie, and it's like, for me, it's like the best part of the film, because it actually kind of goes into the backstory, a little bit of Krampus and his relationship with the grandmother who's in the movie. And yeah, that was kind of the best part.
Did they have sex?
No. I don't want to see that happen.
Some bestiality.
It's like a fucking goat.
You're gross, Greg.
A little bit gross.
Yeah.
What's your pick?
My pick of the week is John Mulaney. It's a new stand-up on Netflix called The Comeback Kid. And it's his first special, I want to say, in the past 2 years. And he's been doing some like network television shows. The names are escaping me right now. But the special is really fun. He touches on growing up in a Catholic family, which I related to personally. One of the things he talks about is like the only time you really go to church is when you see your parents, so you can fake that you still go to church. And this is the first time he's gone in like 5 years. And when, 10 years ago when they said, and peace be with you all, you should say, and also with you. And he's like, but like now they're like, and with your spirit. I'm like, whoa, what the hell is that? When did they change the words? I was like, oh my God, because I experienced that same thing too. That's why I find it funny. I also talked about finding homes with his new wife, and it's all like weirdly relatable things that I think he just does a really, really good job of explaining. I know his past stand-ups haven't been the most hilarious, but I think this one is definitely him climbing back up the tower of the comedic hierarchy. So
I did hear you laughing quite a bit from your room. So
yeah, it was funny, man. It was funny.
You also did it when you watched Eddie Murphy, but that's.
I thought, I watched Delirious and Raw yesterday.
Delirious is really good.
Because I was avoiding studying for finals. And Delirious is hilarious, but I watched Raw first because I knew you saw Delirious first. Like, I don't want to watch Delirious first. I want to watch Raw first because I want to be different. And Raw wasn't as funny.
Okay.
There was like comedic things, and I think it's really cool when you watch like old comics and you look at today's comics. Like Kevin Hart takes a lot from Eddie Murphy's style of stand up when it comes to
I noticed that too.
When it comes to like loud noises, like randomly loud noises and like weird accents,
playing with the microphone,
playing
like,
with the microphone.
Prop.
When it comes to like telling a story and just like rambling on a conversation, like when Eddie Murphy does impersonations of his drunk dad, like that's a lot. Like he just like makes up a conversation like on the spot.
That's for like 3 minutes.
And that's what Kevin Hart will do, like to continue on a joke. I'm like, oh wow, it's really, really cool how like you can like tell that he does this.
That's where I thought that stand up was the weakest. Was when he was doing that story of like him or his dad and his uncle about his aunt being a Bigfoot.
Yeah. Like
that.
I heard the funny parts, but I lost interest a lot in that. Look at me critiquing Eddie Murphy's stand up.
Like, where we get off, but
it's just like with his mom and like
genius.
with the whole shoe. Like she came in like Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
I
like that. I like that because I was like, because I like when comedians like come like full circle with their stand ups, but like I was indifferent about it with Eddie's because he would bring it up periodically throughout the show and like consistently throughout the show. And I was like, I feel like it loses its comedic value after maybe the third time.
Well, yeah, it's like that 3-time rule.
Yeah.
Thing.
Although I was cracking up at the beginning when he's making the gay jokes or whatever, and he's talking about Ralph Kramden and Ed Norton because I watched The Honeymooners like every year or whatever, and so like I got who those characters were. So when he was doing it, I was like, he's nailing like the characters perfectly or whatever. So I was cracking up at that.
And like it's crazy like the stuff
that they can get away with saying.
Yeah, the first thing he says in Delirious, like, I got some rules on stage. Quoting here, ain't no fags up my ass on stage. I can't have any fags up my ass.
He's like, so I got to move up and down the stage so you can't get too good of a look.
And I'm just like, that's what, early 80s.
Like Reagan era, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just weird to think that, like...
Because, saying the F word, we'll call it, so we don't have to keep saying it, is so frowned upon now. Like even in stand-up comedy, like even the raunchiest people, maybe a Daniel Tosh would say it.
Said it before,
but like it's very skim. Whereas he was just saying like F word, like almost as much as you're saying fuck.
Yeah. And that was another thing too. Is like I find swearing to be a very, very funny impact when it comes to jokes. But like Eddie Murphy's is like fuck, motherfucker, like all this other kind of stuff. And and some jokes like as I continue to hit, but other times it's like, I'm kind of sick of you saying the F word right now. Could you use other words?
Do you guys know what that girl said to him when
he
dropped the mic?
He said,
I've always wondered
this. I just looked it up last night. He said, so in the middle of a stand-up, he's like taking a break. He's like, I'm sweaty, I'm tired. And some woman in this crowd goes, do Mr. Rob, which is one of the characters he did on SNL. And before the stand-up happened, I don't know if it was during the stand-up or if it was an interview beforehand, but he said if anybody asked him to do any SNL stuff they did on SNL, that he would walk off the stage. So she said, do Mr. Rob, and instantly some guy goes, shut up, bitch. And Eddie like drops his mic and just starts dying of laughter. And he picks up his mic. He's like, "Bet you didn't know I was a ventriloquist too, didn't you?" So he's like basically thanking that guy for telling her to shut the hell up.
Because I only heard her. I didn't hear him say, "Shut the fuck up, bitch."
I was wondering what the hell he was.
So when he just drops the mic, I was like, "What?"
I didn't hear anything. So I looked up. I was like, what did that woman say in Delirious Stand Up? And it's like, it wasn't really a heckle, but it was like, dude, Mr. Rob, and shut up, bitch.
Got it.
Yeah.
Because I thought he was laughing at her. Because
Yeah.
And I was like, well, what did she say? Like, do me or something funny like
I thought
that.
it was something like that, yeah.
And he was cracking up at it. I was like, okay, we'll just assume it's funny. Yeah. But
I'm really interested because, I mean, after the SNL 40 thing, where Eddie decided not to do the Bill Cosby impersonation, and Kenan Thompson did it instead. And then when he accepted the Mark Twain Award, he did some Bill Cosby stuff. So I think with like that transition, and I've been reading more articles too that he's going to start like, because in the past he's openly said this was where he's kind of like done movies just to like still like have a living, like make a living, but now he's going to start trying to do projects that he really, really wants to do. So I'm hoping that comes with like more original comedy content. Maybe another stand-up would be great to see because he's really, really funny. But I'm really excited to see this next wave of Eddie Murphy because I mean, like, look at Sylvester Stallone, right? He did his thing and then kind of like went off the face of the earth for a while and then like came back with all the movies coming out right now.
Right.
So it's kind of, I feel like it's kind of like the same thing. But I mean,
there's a lot of actors and people that are trying to have like that resurgence in their career
Neeson.
that are becoming like more cautious with what they do because in their younger selves, like you were saying with Eddie Murphy, they were kind of like, well, I just need money and blah blah blah. And now that they're like they have this established image,
they can kind of do what they
pick and
want
choose.
now.
Like I think it goes with Martin Scorsese and kind of with Silence and Liam Neeson. Is he's been wanting to do this for a while, and I think he's now at a point where he's like, you know what, I'm 72 years old, made this career, I made the movies that I needed to make money.
Yeah, like he doesn't
now
need to wait for the studio to like decide like, just do it.
Right.
Give
Yeah,
him carte
now
blanche, just do whatever.
Now he's got this more creative freedom that he can do these kind of projects. So.
But even like all Eddie stuff, like you any comedic interview I've seen where Eddie Murphy is brought up is like basically like all hail Eddie Murphy. Like he's just like so worshipped by like the comic community.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, again with that Mark Twain Award thing, a lot of them were all thanking him for basically like you're the reason I got into comedy.
Yeah.
So
like Chris Rock, would kind of like worked under Eddie Murphy when Eddie Murphy was in New York doing this stuff. Like Chris Rock was like a 17-year-old kid. With Eddie, who was only like 22.
He was like our age.
He's not much older.
That blew my mind. I was like, he was 22 when he did the lyrics. I'm like,
he's
that's
got to be 30, but no,
older
he was
than
like,
me.
it's like fuck.
Right now, which is crazy. But yeah, like Chris Rock was like kind of like working under Eddie Murphy at the time, like, and to have that as a mentor, like holy.
Chris
shit.
Rock is one of those that I just can't get into his humor because
Sometimes
his voice
I can
gets
get
to
into-
me,
yeah.
and his most of his shtick is
His voice.
calling out white people.
Yeah.
And his voice. So, like, it's kind of like, all right, haha, white people are, they do their weird stuff, okay. But black people do weird stuff. Asian people, like, we all have our weird things that we do or whatever. And so, like, he rides that way too kind of hard.
Yeah.
And
Now he's kind of like, it's like his,
it's like,
very
okay, we got it,
self-parody,
and like, what else you got,
Well, like, and I think we view that differently because in the generation now, our generation and the generation that's coming up, and what we're like learning about is kind of to not focus on the race things, or at least talk about it, right? Like we acknowledge, whatever, but we don't really talk about it the whole time. That time period, that's all you talked about when they were growing up, when they were coming into the world. It was about like the racial differences in different cultures.
But that's what comedians have to do is be able to adapt to a more present day. So it might be a thing that he might
Chris
have
Rock
to...
hasn't done a stand-up in like 6 years, something like that.
He really hasn't done a whole lot of like movies other than like Grown Ups.
He just did Top 5.
Okay, right.
directed
Top
last
5, which
his
wasn't
directing
that
debut, I think.
big of a success from what I understand. I think it was pretty...
I heard it was entertaining, but it wasn't
was like a modest
breakout
success.
thing. But I mean, Chris Rock's still one of those actors where I'm like, oh, Chris Rock's in it? I should probably check it out.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like, for going to with Grown Ups, I didn't see Grown Ups to Chris Rock. I saw it for Adam Sandler, for Kevin James, who I think is hysterical. Like all those guys. And it's like, oh, and Chris Rock, yeah, that's like a nice added bonus.
But like, and speaking of that movie, like I like that movie because it's basically just those guys playing themselves, right? I mean,
For the most part, yeah.
And I mean, like Rob Schneider's probably playing an over-exaggerated versions of themselves. But like Chris Rock, like I think when he is like that, I think he can be his most funniest because he's a lot more calmer. He isn't so like loud and like trying to overly be funny.
Right.
It's like the way he talks, and he talks like this sometimes.
Yeah.
Which is bad.
Bad. Yeah.
But like he can be funny without doing that, and I wish he would do more things like that because I think it's more effective to us as audience members. But that's just me.
Yeah.
He did that one special he had from like London and like New York, and it might have been LA, but it was the way the special worked is that it changed feeds from each time they recorded. So like he'd be like telling one joke, and then all of a sudden they'd cut to like in like London he'd be telling a joke, and then they cut to the feed from like New York and he'd be telling that same joke.
Mm-hmm.
And which is really interesting. It was a really cool concept. But like I remember listening to WTF podcast with Mark Maron, which I highly recommend, by the way, if you guys haven't listened to that yet. He's like I don't like that because that just proves that you're doing the same bit like in the exact same order every single night.
Right.
Compared to like mixing it up or like trying to like change stuff. He's like doing the exact same jokes, which I understand at the same time. But like I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right. Well, finishing off with Chris Rock, I actually watched, and I don't know if you guys did, the Very Murray Christmas special.
I don't talk
That's
about
the
it.
Sophia Coppola.
Yeah.
I want to see it. Don't talk about it.
Can I just say
No.
how I liked it?
Yeah, you can say if you liked it or not.
I didn't really enjoy it because, well, it's only 50 minutes. It's supposed to be just like a special. It's nothing like, it's not like a movie. I thought it was a movie at first.
I did. Yeah. Okay.
And it's not. It's yeah, like 50 minutes. It has a couple of stars in it, and it's basically like Bill Murray's. Like, there's a huge snowstorm in New York City. He's trapped in this hotel with a couple of celebrities, and he's supposed to put on this like big show, big Christmas special, like an old school like kind of thing. And of course, the celebrities he does need can't get in, like George Clooney, Miley Cyrus, whatever. And so it's basically like, how are we supposed to have fun in this hotel? And it's like, it never really just like blows me away. I mean, the end of it does when they like. Okay. Throughout, there are some good performances though.
Okay. Yes.
You get to see Bill Murray sing, which is he's not too bad. He's pretty good. There's one performance though a lot of people are talking about in that
Cool.
special.
Cool.
That was actually very good. That was probably the pivotal part of the whole.
It was Miley, wasn't it?
It was.
I saw an article like you want to watch this just for like this reason, and
Her rendition. It was a rendition of Silent Night that was like really really cool and.
well, I mean,
nice.
she can sing in real life.
I really think her voice is really really good.
feel it's
People
like
kind of
most
forget
pop
that
stars. Yeah.
because of like her
Well, I mean,
image.
if you think about it, what she's doing right now is kind of what like how Lady Gaga got into the
Right, and she's kind of toned it
main
down
stage,
quite
and
a
she
bit.
toned it
She
down,
has, yeah.
especially after the Tony Bennett album. She kind of like
So he probably was like, I'm not taking that shit.
yeah.
He's classy, so.
Yeah, she kind of mellowed out as far as like the crazy outfits.
Well, if you
and-
think about it,
and all
she's
the
really
weird
been kind of
storylines.
sticking with that Tony Bennett-esque kind of
Yeah,
music.
and
And I like her. Actually,
which
I like it a lot more.
She
than
is
that.
so good at.
What's that?
Her voice is
standards.
Yeah,
that
she-
old jazz stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, she like kills it. So she's kind of like picked up the slack for Amy Winehouse being gone. Like she
Yeah.
kind of like fills that void a little bit. I'm not saying comparing Gaga to Amy Winehouse, apples to oranges there, but as far as like you need a female like vocalist that can do these standards, and I think Gaga's a good fill for that.
Yeah, but like, yeah, with Miley, like, and she specifically says that she is doing this just to make a statement. Like she's doing
Right.
this on purpose. She
Yeah,
isn't
she's
like
trying
doing,
to do like that naked concert and like all this.
like
kind
she's
of
not
stuff.
doing it to be, because that's actually who she is. She's doing it to entertain. She's doing it to push the boundaries of what like society sees in like today's pop stars.
I didn't think it was ever her because if you look at it like even just maybe 3 years ago, right before she cut her hair, like she seemed very like quote unquote normal,
Right.
And it seemed like all of a sudden like it was like a flip of a switch,
Like
and
a
now she's
180,
just
yeah.
a little
Yeah.
like so it seemed like it was
Too
kind of like
polarizing,
in the mix for a
I remember when
while.
that first was happening. It was the media was blaming it for when she and Liam Hemsworth broke up.
Right.
And she was saying that like that kind of like made her snap, and like I mean it got to her, I'm sure,
But not that bad.
but
I mean,
you have to have some serious things wrong.
Celebrity
with you.
relationships are almost kind of fluffed for the most part. So
Absolutely.
it's like you wonder how much
like
of
when
a
they break up, you're not
relationship do they
surprised
really
at all.
have.
Like, yeah, I had a.
You're
pool
almost
going.
more
Yeah, that's
surprised
when
that
you
they
were
stay
going.
together
Yeah.
than they
Seriously.
break up. You know.
It's kind of good. For
It's
them.
like the ones that do are like the kind of from the older generation, like the actors who are like in their 70s and they still
Right.
are together.
Right.
in the night before, I know we talked about this last episode, but I think one of the best jokes the night before was when Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character sees Miley Cyrus at the Nutcracker ball.
Yes.
And he's like, "Oh my God, you're Miley Cyrus! I can't believe I'm talking to Miley Cyrus." She's like, "You need to stop calling me Miley Cyrus." Like, "Okay, what do you want me to call you? Hannah?"
And he's like, what?
I was dying in the theater. I thought that was so funny.
And she's like, no, I'm just kidding. Well, her SNL, I remember her monologue. She's like, oh yeah, people have been asking me about Hannah Montana. She's like, I murdered her. She's dead.
that was like a year or two ago?
A couple of years ago now, but yeah, I was just like, wow, okay, so I guess she doesn't want to be Hannah anymore.
Yeah, that was so funny though. Oh man.
Yeah. No, she's entertaining.
Yeah, that was a good tangent.
Yeah.
So we do have a lot of stuff to talk about with superhero stuff. I think the first thing we're going to talk about, because we meant to touch on it last week and we didn't, was the Civil War, Captain America Civil War trailer that came out 2 weeks ago. And with talking to Dan and Patrick, I think the general consensus is it looks cool. The combat looks great. However, Dan, Patrick, and I are both big fans of the comic book, the story of the Civil War. And with that one, there's a lot more Marvel characters. There's a lot more... The world's expanded, so you can touch up on different things. And with that one, it's purely the Registration Act. Because the first chapter of Civil War is there's like a superhero reality television show, and they're trying to get some villains. And one of the villains is like a grade 1 villain who creates a supernova and kills or blows up an elementary school, basically. And with that, the government's like, whoa, like all these people need to be regulated. However, in the trailer, they touched on the regulation, which was mainly for the Winter Soldiers aspect because they didn't want this guy running around anymore. But Dan talks about this every single time we have this conversation of it just seems like Captain America being, that's my best friend, you can't hurt my best friend.
He's very whiny in this movie, it seems like, and it's very almost out of character for Captain America because he's very much like, this is my job, this is what I have to do, and he kind of sticks with it and like knows that there's obviously going to be casualties in it.
The dutiful soldier.
Right, the abiding soldier, but now it seems like he'd be weird to be against it. It seems like that Iron Man should be opposed to it, and that Captain America should be for it.
It makes sense that Iron Man is because they built it up in Age of Ultron with that weird dream sequence that Scarlet Witch had on Tony Stark, where he was envisioning his worst fear, and that is he couldn't control everything and everybody would die and the superheroes whatever.
And I mean, at the end of Iron Man, he just kind of was like, "Yeah, I am Iron Man." So I guess he is okay with people knowing.
Yeah,
honestly, I can see Captain America being against the Registration Act because he sees it as like a serious, say like. Full like on freedom basically,
right?
And that was discussed greatly in Winter
War.
Soldier. So I don't mind that because they're just transitioning into this film.
And I mean, with the book, they're using the fact that Captain America's friends with everybody, because I mean, all of them are either on his side or on their side, but like Captain America's doing this for everybody. But for the movie, it seems like the only thing that's driving him to fight against the Registration Act is Bucky.
Right.
And that isn't... It's not strong enough.
It's not that interesting.
Like, we get it, he's your best friend and everything, but like the people who are like giant fans and like know the story, like, I don't know how everybody's totally satisfied with this. I mean, again, it's the first trailer we've seen.
Right.
We don't know much about the story other than what we've seen so far in the trailer, but from the trailer... Compared to the story, and we knew this going in, compared to the story, it's not going to be...
Yeah. So it's like we should just... I agree with that, and I've kind of like just accepted, okay, it's really not going to be the comic book storyline, which is disappointing because it's one of the most riveting storylines I've read in a while.
I got really emotional reading it.
And so I think going into it, I'm just going to see it, okay, how this Civil War is going to be, just in a movie.
And I think it would have been that much better, though, to have waited on this story of Civil War for maybe another 5 movies or so, like kind of push it back, especially to come off of Avengers, for that to be the next one to Civil War.
Yeah.
It seems a little weird, and I would have liked to have seen a couple of more characters get introduced.
Yeah, I think if Marvel was able to get more rights to their characters... Then I think in the trailer we see both of them running at each other, which looks like an empty parking lot.
Yeah, basically.
So it's not
it seems like
epic.
a school tussle.
Seriously, like it looks like the Socs and the Greasers just go at each other.
Yeah.
I mean, the book, they have everybody. They have the Fantastic Four.
X-Men.
They have the actual X-Men. The side storyline for Wolverine. If you guys haven't read it yet, I highly recommend it. because it goes into Wolverine figuring out why, like finding Nova, finding the guy who blew up the elementary school. And that gets like really, really intense. And in fact, Wolverine is kind of the main reason why Namor comes back for the final fight. And Namar's kind of like the Marvel version of Aquaman. Aquaman came first. But
Actually, no, I think it was Namor came first.
Nuh-uh, I'm looking it up.
There was one of them that was like, believe it or not, it was
They
like
were close.
Namor came first. Yeah, they were really close. But yeah, it's so like if we had a couple more villains to kind of beef it up a little bit more, I think it would have been more interesting. But for it to be like 4-on-4 or 5-on-5, whatever it is, it's kind of like.
So I'm expecting a very intimate story, which actually I don't mind at all.
It's not a civil war. It's like a West Side Story gang battle.
Yeah,
right.
So I don't mind an intimate story. So I'm just gonna wait now.
It seems like a pickup fight or something, like a pickup game or something.
And I mean, another thing in the book that's really cool is they have like a task. I don't know if it's called Task Force X, but
No, that's Suicide Squad.
It's Suicide Squad. Whatever this task force is called, they get a bunch of villains to go against Captain America's side, like Venom and Green Goblin.
Sinister Six?
It's not Sinister Six. It's not Sinister Six.
Okay.
But it's just a bunch of villains like from all aspects of the Marvel Universe, and they all bring that in. And that's a really cool part because you're like, they're this desperate. They're this desperate to bring down Captain America that they have to bring in villains.
If they waited, they would be able to bring in Jessica Jones, Daredevil, Punisher, Ms. Marvel.
Namor is older than Aquaman. I apologize for.
Yeah, when you said it, I was like, I think Namor came first. So like, there's 5 more characters right there that they could be bringing in to make it that much more interesting. Luke Cage, Iron Fist.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Daredevil's part's really huge in the book as well.
Like he's an important
but like unfortunately,
and then
they're just very.
They changed it to be like where Black Panther is more of like the swinging to both sides, whereas like Spider-Man and he's confirmed to have a cameo, which. Where we want pictures of Spider-Man.
Yeah, that was the main thing is the pictures of Spider-Man.
He's gonna be like the Luke Skywalker, where he's kept out of the stuff, and then we'll kind of see him.
Well, I mean, in the book, Panther does swing. He's a swinger. Mm-hmm. He initially starts off on Iron Man's side, and by the end, he switches the Cap side.
I thought just Spider-Man switched sides.
I thought it was.
No,
there was a few of them that switched,
because
right?
Black Panther was helping Reed Richards build the 47, the prison to the negative zone.
Okay.
And that's what Black Panther was
Is
helping
T'Challa
doing.
a scientist? I know he's a prince. Oh, he's a scientist.
And so spoilers for the book, which is kind of the main thing, which is the part that I get really emotional at during the book, is when they have to recreate Thor because Thor is dead. In the book, Hulk killed him. That's when they sent him off the planet Hulk. But the reincarnated version of Thor ends up killing the hero Goliath, who is in like full like Goliath mode,
which
like
is like
100 feet tall,
secondary catalyst, and that kind of changes size
and
for everyone.
he kills him, and that just shell shocks the entire community. And Goliath was really, really good friends with T'Challa. So that's why he switches sides, because how could you do this to my friend? We talked about nobody was supposed to get hurt, all this other kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
That's why he switches sides, and then Spider-Man switches sides. Just in the fact of one, Captain America is one of his biggest heroes, and for him just like overthinking this and thinking over again, for him to not be on his side seemed wrong to him. And in the Spider-Man standalone story of Civil War, you see a lot more of that relationship where Peter's talking to Captain America, and they have like inner battles because. Also, at this time, Spider-Man is like kind of working under Tony Stark. But Peter Parker is working under Tony Stark, being who he is as a person, and also Spider-Man.
Because he has like a new suit and everything.
Yeah, he has like an Iron Man suit and everything. That's like one of the big
Spider
thing. Yeah, and he ends up hacking it, which is pretty cool. So that might happen in the movie. I don't know, but it's
I bet we won't see an Iron Spider-Man suit. They said he's going to be in classic Spider-Man suit.
Like he's going to have like a kind of like a makeshift one he made himself, and then like an actual.
Yeah,
one.
they confirmed that it'll be like what you're wearing on your shirt, like the blue and red. And
I'm also really sad that we're not going to see Halle Berry as Storm in Civil War.
That would have been cool.
Storm and Black Panther kind of have sex together, so
they're from the same area, aren't they? Kinda.
I'm pretty sure Storm's an alien. I thought.
No,
she's from
Africa.
Is she?
Yeah. She's a mutant.
She's
not
supposed
an
to have an accent. But
yeah, she's supposed to have like an African. There was actually a deleted scene in X-Men Origins where you see a young Storm.
Really?
With the white hair and stuff like that.
I remember when I was in like middle school, and I like looked up like the 50s comics or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They said I thought they said that Storm was a alien because I think she was with Rogue, maybe it was Rogue or maybe it was Phoenix. I'm not entirely sure.
Well, all mutants are human. They just have like that chromosome that makes them like have a special ability or whatever.
Because I remember, I don't know, there was some scene. I was like, oh, I thought where I'm from, like this doesn't happen. Maybe I just read it.
I think actually like Nightcrawler. I think he actually originally was like an actual demon. But then they changed it to him just being like a mutant.
Well, he's the son of Mystique and Azazel. So.
Yeah.
Right.
Who was my favorite X-Men character, by the way.
Azazel?
No,
Nightcrawler.
Whenever I would go to Chuck E. Cheese as a kid, and they had that X-Men game where you just got kind of like going like a campaign mode, always Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler was awesome.
He'll be in the new in Apocalypse, but as a kid now. So maybe they'll do something.
I liked him a lot in Last Stand. I thought he was good.
Yeah, he was in
two.
second.
United, yeah.
X2, yeah. But maybe they'll do something what they did with Quicksilver, where with Mystique, where it's like, oh yeah, my mom used to be able to shapeshift.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering how they're going to handle that.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
That'd be kind of fun. And Azazel, well, although they didn't really hint at a relationship with them in First Class.
No, so that's gonna be
No,
really
that was kinda like-
see. Yeah, exactly.
Kind of retconned or something like that.
So they might not use that part or whatever. Seeing as they let Halle Berry not use an accent, they might just let anything happen now.
Yeah, I mean,
So whatever, right? Fuck it.
yeah. Maybe Wolverine has like toe claws too. I don't know.
Right. Well, first off, he's supposed to be like 5'4"
Yeah,
and like extremely hairy.
like-
Instead of we got Hugh Jackman, which
and-
is great, but
well, it's great. But when I was reading the Wolverine standalone comic for Civil War, I didn't like the way he looked because he looked like a troll doll. But I remember like, all right, this is his
that's why
actual
he's
character.
so angry. Because he's so freaking small.
But like I'm so used to Hugh Jackman that I expect Wolverine to be like this big character. But yeah,
Yeah.
he's
Like short and stocky. Like, that's why I almost, if they ever recast Wolverine, which obviously would be big shoes to fill, I want it to be a smaller actor.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be 5'4", but if it was like
Tom Hardy.
5'6", 5'7", 5'8",
he
somewhere in
has
there.
to look the part a little bit more.
Right, a little more closer to that.
But
yeah, Tom Hardy
but-
could do it. He's like 5'9", so he could probably do
But
it.
regardless, other than the height, Hugh Jackman's still I think the closest we're ever gonna get to like a look-alike Wolverine.
Oh, yeah.
by far.
Yeah.
The dude just plays it so
I mean, there's a
well.
reason he's been playing him for 17 years.
I follow him
Yeah.
on my Instagram, and
I do too.
I'm always grossed out when I see him like lifting the gym because he's like what 50 years old.
Pretty close.
And he's like a fucking mountain.
Yeah, and
stone.
he's huge,
Chiseled.
but like he's getting old, so like he's getting like more veiny, and his skin's like kind of looking weird. So I'm just like,
like,
you look.
your body doesn't
really,
wanna do
really
this, man.
weird.
That's how
Tank cleaning 200
Stallone.
pounds.
Stallone's getting like that too.
Yeah.
So it's like you got to get a little nip tucks and stuff
Well,
somewhere.
that's what
I
happens
guess.
when you stop taking steroids.
Yeah, that's true. That's why his hands are like
Yeah.
the size of pancakes.
Same with Schwarzenegger. That picture of Schwarzenegger that surfaced like 5 years ago, where he's like really chubby.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you stop taking steroids.
Right, you get sloppy looking. Even though you might be in shape underneath, you got to like trim that
Yeah.
down and stuff. So anyway, let's not stay on old men's physique.
So that was our thoughts on Civil War. I'm still probably gonna go see it. I'm sure
Oh,
we're
yeah.
still gonna go see it.
Yeah.
But our expectations are still
Mine are low.
low.
Mine are hopeful.
Mine are hopeful
Yeah,
too.
it's just
But
low
I'm
hopeful.
I'm not like this is gonna be the greatest Marvel movie ever.
And
It's not.
I'm also going into as this is clearly not going to be the Civil War
Yeah.
that we all want. But I'm hopeful that
Open-mindedness.
maybe this Civil War that's going to be will be just a good movie. I just want a good story. And hopefully, if it's a good story, then I'll enjoy the movie.
Yeah, if the Russo brothers adapted enough that it can still work on its own, then I'm satisfied.
Yeah.
Right.
That's all we can really ask for. A second trailer that
Which is
came out
almost like another civil war in itself.
in itself. A second trailer that came out last week during we saw a snippet of it after Gotham, last commercial of Gotham, and we saw it more on Tuesday. Was it Tuesday?
Wednesday. Jimmy Kimmel.
During Jimmy Kimmel. The Batman vs Superman trailer number 2. Holy shit. It's pretty much what we can say about that. Dan, you can start it off, talk about it if you want to.
Okay, so I liked Jimmy Kimmel, or I like Jimmy Kimmel, but I wasn't like, normally I wouldn't watch him. I normally watch The Tonight Show or whatever. And then when I saw that he's going to have the trailer, I was like, well, I guess I got to stay up and watch Jimmy Kimmel, and like Ben Affleck was on it. And the way they introduced the trailer was great. I was telling Greg about it, where Jimmy's like, oh, I got Guillermo on the roof. Like, Guillermo, you up there? And they'll cut to him, and he's like, yeah, I'm ready. And so they turn a bat signal on, and then it cuts back to Jim, and he's like, yeah, so I guess we just kind of wait now. And then Ben Affleck's like in the audience, like, I'm here, whatever. And he's like, oh, thank God you're here, Batman. So can we show the trailer now, Batman? And he's like, Jimmy, you realize like I'm not actually Batman, right? Like I just play him in the movie. He's like, I know that, Batman. It's okay. And he's like, Jimmy, you know what my real name is? He's like, what's my real name? And he's like, I know what your real name is. He's like, yeah, well, what is it? He's like, Bruce Wayne. He's like, Bruce Wayne's your real name. He's like, no, it's not. Like, oh, he's like, all right, let's just show the trailer. So anyway, now to the trailer. First glance at it, I was like emotionally just like, oh my God, like really obsessed about it. And how we were making the joke of like, show me pictures of Spider-Man. For this one, it was show me pictures of Batman. Videos of Batman, whatever. I wanted to see the voice or hear the voice. I wanted to see him fighting. I wanted to see him like in the character.
He did.
And he got it. I think that was the best part of the trailer were the Batman stuff.
Yeah.
Like even him as Bruce Wayne when he was like him and Clark, which I'm not sure if they know each other's secrets. It kind of was implied that they know each other's secrets, even though Clark, a scene before, was like, yeah, who's that? So he could have just been playing that off.
Well, that could have been like an earlier cut from the movie. But when they were having that conversation outside Lex Luthor's, I'm assuming fundraiser or some sort of gala, they were looking at each other like Bruce was like, I know who you are, motherfucker. And
so
Clark's
maybe
like,
he knows.
I know who you are too, motherfucker.
It might be that Batman really knows who he is, but Clark might not know who he is. You know what I mean? Because usually Batman, I think in most versions, figures out Clark before Clark figures out.
Well, Batman normally knows stuff firsthand before anybody else does.
Right.
In any storyline, so that's probably a good assumption.
Yeah, so assuming he knows who Clark is, whatever, he gives him like that, what they were calling like the classic Batman grin or whatever, like the smirk kind of thing. And like
I'll tell you what, Ben looks really good as a Bruce Wayne.
He does.
He does.
He
really does.
With the hair, like everything.
He really fits the Frank Miller retired Batman look.
Mm-hmm.
Even like he almost kind of looked good for like the animated series, which is hard for me to say because of how much I care about it. But when they put the side by side picture of him and then like Conroy's, cartoon version, whatever, I was like, okay, like, I can see this is fitting.
Yeah, because one thing you always talk about is like George Clooney, perfect Bruce Wayne, not a good Batman. Keaton, better Batman than a Bruce Wayne.
Right.
Bale was the closest one we ever got to it. I think Affleck is probably that next one.
And it's interesting that you mentioned the Dark Knight series because we talked about it where I think that the Dark Knight series or trilogy will not have its same impact again that it did. You know, before they even considered, like, before Man of Steel, like, before all these kind of movies, Batman, like, Christian Bale was, like, the Batman. Like, he was the pinnacle of all superhero movies, right?
Yeah.
Now that we are seeing Ben Affleck bring it to a more comic book level where we're actually seeing, like, him in a gray suit and, like, the voice and everything like that, we're going to look at Christian Bale's movies as kind of like, yeah, they're pretty good. They're fun.
Almost like crime thriller, film noir, almost kind of like.
But in every aspect, too, because Dan and I were having this conversation, I brought up Joker, Heath Ledger Joker. And I'm like,
right.
But what about that? And I'm like, wait a second, but we have Jared Leto, and we have actually the cover of Empire where Jared Leto's on it right now.
Looks fantastic.
Who looks amazing. And we're super excited to see that. And there could be a possibility where Jared Leto's Joker could be so different enough that you might look at it at a better light than Ledger's.
They talk about it in one of the articles. They do like a big Suicide Squad piece in the Empire, which I recommend picking up. It's a really cool issue. But and they talk about how Ledger's was more of like a lone gunman kind of like psychopath, whereas Jared Leto's version is more of like a business-minded, like he's a little more sophisticated Joker, but yet at the same time he's a sociopath that wants to like,
but, you know. And I think to me, Leto's Joker sounds more of like the comic Joker. It's the comic Joker.
His attire is based off of Mexican cartel,
right?
Gang leaders, you know, like that. So I like totally see. I think that.
But
transfers
like
well.
in the comics and in some of the shows too, like Joker has connections everywhere. He is the guy.
I mean, he's classy when it comes to being a sociopath.
And he's classy too. He's not like Jack Nicholson clown, right? He's a little more civilized than that. But he's just a badass. Like he just has anything he can do. He wants to do, he can do it because he has the materials.
But it's like I never knew where he got his fundings from, but I guess it was just from robbing stuff.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they'll go into that. Maybe we'll get a little more peek into Joker.
You're going to see him manipulate Harley Quinn, so that's going to be pretty cool. I'm very excited for Suicide Squad, but we don't want to get
that Harley Quinn scene's going to be sick, though, when he manipulates Harley Quinn. Quinzel. But yeah, back to the Batman vs. Superman trailer. One of my favorite parts of the trailer.
I wasn't finished.
Oh, you want to talk about it? Go ahead.
Okay, thanks. So yeah, I
bad.
watched it fully through the first time. I was like, oh my god, it's so cool. And then within 10 minutes, they had it up online or whatever. You can watch it. So I watched it again to like wipe my tears away so I can clear vision and breathe again. I was kind of like, oh, hopefully you all seen it, because if not, spoilers. Even though you watched the trailer, it's spoilers. I think that they showed too much looking at it a second, third, whatever time.
Wholeheartedly.
It was
Especially
like,
with Doomsday.
Oh my
yeah,
god.
like I would have been fine with a trailer where they show you all about just like Batman and Superman's fight, right? You just focus on that as the trailer, like let that be like the selling point, almost like as if that's the main plot, which I think it kind of is, but like, and then Doomsday kind of gets teased at the end. I think that's what it is, and he's going to probably go into Justice League. But even so, don't even show Doomsday at all. Like maybe the littlest you show would be like
The experiment happening.
The experiment, and you're
General
kind of like,
Zod.
oh my god, what is that? Like, what's happening? And then you have to be anticipated. This, I'm not really as anticipated now because I've seen we are Doomsday. Okay, he's coming. I can't get into it. So I think it was a little too much, but maybe there'll be still. I mean, we still haven't seen Aquaman. Flash is pretty much confirmed to have a cameo in it. Yeah, you know how I feel about that. But the one thing I did enjoy about it too was, besides the Batman, of course, was there was glimpses of humor in it, which is kind of like, okay, good. So we're not going to like feel emotionally distraught after this. We're actually going to be like, a little bit entertained with when Wonder Woman, which her entrance was fantastic with
Awesome.
the blocking with the shield, and then
Fucking
where
amazing.
because he was like, oh shit, and then like it kind of cuts away, and then she saves him or whatever, and he's like. Superman's like, oh, is she with you? And he's like, I thought she was with you. I can't do it. I have to hear it more. But, so I thought that was perfect. Batman's voice, I dig. It's very like...
It's a good mix
It fits.
Conroy and Bale.
It's kind of just like, smooth talking, kind of deeper.
But it's still a little bit raspy.
Right, a little bit. I'm like, I'm not going to even bother. But then it kind of sounds like they have like a device on it, like Oliver Queen in Arrow, which hopefully it's not there all the time, because I think it'd be weird to have him be like... digitized.
Because there was a time where it sounded a little unnaturally raspy, like they put like a filter.
I wouldn't find if like a Keaton where it's just like a little bit deeper and like raspier kind of instead of like a raspy voice. Batman, Christian Bale's, but overall I thought that the Batman stuff was really cool. The Wonder Woman stuff was really cool. Like what's his name? Lex Luthor, Jesse Eisenberg.
That was my favorite part.
I'm still not convinced because
You're not
that was
convinced?
no, because that entrance was just a little too much for me. And I'm sure it'll be entertaining, but almost like entertainingly bad.
With his weave on.
Well, like the way I look at it is, this is pre-bald Lex Luthor, right?
I think we'll see him bald in that movie. So,
but regardless, before this change happens,
right?
He's pre-bald. He's still a kid. He's still immature. He still actually has a personality. Lex Luthor in the comics and in the animated shows, he has a personality, but he's like a smooth talking asshole.
Right.
That's kind of his personality. Jesse Eisenberg plays a great asshole character. Can we just acknowledge that for a second? I'm really looking forward to seeing that because he plays a great asshole.
Yeah.
But it seemed weird with the party scene where he's like, Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne come together and like all this stuff. It's like,
Clark like Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know.
It's because he knows. It's because he's Lex Luthor. He's
but
smart
does
like
he know like their identity? You think?
I think so.
You think that he knows Bruce Wayne's Batman and Superman, whatever?
I think Lex Luthor's smart enough.
I mean, again, if you look at Batman's mask, more times than not, you can be like, that's Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why I wish they would give him the white eyes, because then I think it would hide it better, where you just are going off his mouth.
Well, I mean, it's really hard to tell Superman too because he wears glasses. And
Right,
course,
and then
that's like the
sometimes he has that
hardest disguise
swirl.
of all.
That's probably the biggest like confusion is like, well, he doesn't have the swirl, so it can't be the same person, right?
Clearly.
Or like wait,
No.
I'm confused. Glasses on, glasses off. You can't be the same person. That's impossible.
But
That's always been kind of ridiculous to me. Where it's like,
absolutely.
What?
There's no problem, no argument there at all. But like, I'm actually really excited for Lex's character because the way I looked at it and the humor he was bringing to me kind of felt like a Ledger Joker. Where like he still has it all together, but he's like fun, he's entertaining, and he's maniacal, and he's planning. He is always planning. And I'm really looking for, especially with the whole like Doomsday creation. Towards the end of that, seeing that and just kind of kicking off the possibility that having Doomsday be in Justice League, having Lex Luthor be one of the main guys in Justice League, main villains in Justice League, I think it's going to set it up well. I do agree that they definitely revealed too much. I know this because Screen Rant and Movie Pilot and Cineblend all put out articles saying 10 movies that revealed too much in the trailer and ruined the movie for them. It's like, okay, well, obviously this is a factor of what's happening right now.
I think a lot of trailers do that these days.
Yeah.
A lot of them show way too much.
Not Disney.
Disney and like Star Wars.
They've been handling
those are
it
good.
beautifully.
That's why I said Disney to incorporate Star Wars, but like all those trailers do a really good job of giving you a little bit of a taste and making you want to see more.
I still have no idea what the movie's about, but yeah.
But even like Southpaw, that wasn't Disney, but just in general, Southpaw, like you don't
Warner
even,
Brothers, wasn't it?
Huh?
Isn't that Warner Brothers?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. Might be. Like it's not. I'm not spoiling anything when I say, because you can watch this in the trailer, that when Rachel McAdams' character dies, it's like you know it's going to happen before you watch the movie because it's in the trailer. Like.
Well, I mean, in the instance of Southpaw, like, yes, like the mother's death was kind of like the main driving factor of like whatever was happening.
Right.
But to not have that, or to not show that in the trailer and just be surprised by that, you're so thrown off that you're not understanding the main plot of the movie, which is Jake Gyllenhaal's character trying to get his daughter back.
Right. Well, he has to get her back because he lost her from his wife dying.
It was his wife dying. It was his anger management issues. It was the fact that nobody wanted to fight him anymore. That's what it was.
But I think the wife dying was the icing on the cake, though. Like that's what knocked the tower over.
It definitely was, but to showing that in the trailer, I think was fine because it wasn't the main focus of the story. Like it was the underlying like push.
It was a catalyst that
But the main thing was trying to get the daughter back.
So, I still think it's
regardless, it still did fantastic even with.
Yeah, I mean, it's really good, strong movie. I'm a big fan of boxing movies in general. I think that was a really good one. But
we're super stoked to see more Batman vs Superman. Excited to see the movie. Almost, Dan said this earlier this week, saying he might be more excited to see Batman vs Superman than the new Star Wars movie.
I did say that.
You did say that.
No.
Yeah, you did.
Did I?
Yes, you did.
I thought you said you were most stoked to see Suicide Squad.
I think
Batman.
Squad more than
maybe
Batman and Superman.
Okay.
I remember you told me that.
Because I did say that when I was buying the Empire magazine. Star Wars? Are you kidding? Like, of course I want to see Star Wars. I was born for this.
I was born for this shit.
I mean, Batman, it's close to my heart. He's on my arm and everything, but it's Star Wars. Right. So there's. I was reading the Rolling Stone issues of Star Wars and stuff. I'm watching the trailers. I'm watching anything with Star Wars. I'm like, I follow like half the cast on Instagram and Snapchat and all that. So I'm into it.
What time are we at right now?
We are at 52 minutes.
Okay, so we have to talk about 3 more things.
Okay.
We have to talk about Gotham
because
it was the mid-season finale.
Right.
So Jay and I will talk about that since Patrick
keep it brief.
Is a butt face and is not catching up.
Sorry, it's a little thing called finals week. Okay.
May the odds be forever in your favor.
You're a film major.
We still have stuff to do.
Still very demanding finals, Greg. Okay.
Demanding finals.
He doesn't understand.
There may not be a lot of math and numbers involved.
Do you mean the paper that you were signed 3 weeks ago that's due this week? Is that what you're talking about?
No.
Yeah.
You're gonna, like, kiss
anyway,
the next two things are the Flash and Arrow crossover week, which is going to be super fun to talk about. But we can go into Gotham right now.
Right.
Gotham. Wake me up when you're done.
Yeah.
Gotham.
He's actually going to sleep. Like that wasn't. No, just kidding.
Gotham was about trying to find James Gordon and trying to get him back before he did anything crazy. He is trying to take down Theo Gallivan. Penguin's trying to take down Theo Gallivan. Bullock's trying to. The first scene of the show is you see what happened to Alfred.
Yes.
And he's in a dump and he's trying to hide from Gallivan's sister and succeeds in doing so, but is super pissed off, looking for Bruce. And Alfred is a badass and it's so cool. Alfred's such a cool character.
He hides in a refrigerator.
Yeah, it's like a cooler. Yeah. Like a horizontal refrigerator was really nice.
Yeah.
And then he gets up and he comes back to, or he tries to hijack a car to find Bruce, and the police tase him.
Right.
GCPD tases him, and he comes back. he's like passed out in the cell floor, and like Bullock tosses water on him or whatever, and wakes him up, and Alfred's like, "Where's Master Bruce?" That was really bad, and
I don't know why you bother with voice. Like, why do we bother with voices? We can never do them.
It's fun. Lucius Fox is also involved because Lucius Fox fixed the hard drive of Bruce's dad's computer, which is really important. I thought that was going to be more of a feature of the episode, but they'll probably touch on that more when they come back after the break. And they're all trying to find Bruce, who is, we know from last episode, was kidnapped by Theo Galavan.
Yep.
And is taken to the dungeon with the weird brotherhood of weird guys. And
yep.
A little more Silver.
Silver St. Cloud, yeah.
A little more Silver. She's trying to basically seduce Bruce. In order to gain back the trust of her Uncle Theo. Does so, but then chickens out as Bruce is about to die. Though the day is saved. And what was... the final thing... Or I guess the two final things of the show that are really important. One is the mention of Doctor Strange.
Yes.
Because another big spoiler towards the end is Galavan's about to be arrested, but Penguin comes in and takes Galavan from GCPD, but brings Gordon with him. And they take him by the side of the dock, almost an area similar to where Gordon was supposed to kill Penguin the first season.
Yep, in the pilot. And Penguin's beating the shit out of him with a bat, and Gordon's like, enough, and pulls out a pistol and shoots Galavan. Right.
Which, he's been struggling with crossing over to that side the entire season so far.
Pretty much the whole show.
Yeah, but it's been really pushed on.
In the season.
Highlighted this season. And to see him cross over, that's really, really interesting, especially because we also know that his girlfriend, which I think I'm really glad they actually did this because she's actually pregnant in real life with what's his
Ben McKenzie. They're getting married, and they're actually having a kid and stuff.
Is that Dr. Lee is in fact pregnant in the show, and that kind of wakes up Gordon in a way, but apparently not enough because he still killed somebody. But after he killed Theo is taken to the laboratories of Dr. Hugo Strange, where
we don't see Strange.
We don't see Strange. We just they mention Strange and they see his lab. But in the lab, and I still owe you $1.
Yes, you do.
In one of the, I guess like a giant test tube holding people.
Tank, yeah.
Tank. I thought it was the flamingo from a couple episodes ago, but it's actually Fish Mooney.
Her body
is in this tank.
You only see her from the back, so I guess I can kind of see how you made the mistake. But at the same time, it was Fish Mooney. Like as soon as I saw it, I was like, Fish.
Good for you.
Thank you.
So
it's my good eyes.
There's the hint that she's still alive. I think we all kind of knew it. But there's that. And then the second thing.
No, she might not be alive though.
I mean, they're probably gonna bring her back.
They can bring her back, but I bet you it's probably that they're gonna bring her back from the dead.
Yeah. Well.
So
okay. And then, but the other second big thing is that the final scene of the movie or the show where the guy's running, he's in an alley, and all of a sudden you hear like blaster noise. Like, oh, what's that blaster noise? Mr. Freeze! Mr. Freeze is in the house. Really excited to see him after the break as well. But good mid-season finale for Gotham.
Yeah. The guy playing Mr. Freeze is Kevin Smith's character's bodyguard. Not Kevin Smith. Kevin Spacey's character's bodyguard in House of Cards.
And Hugo Strange is being played by the Asian doctor in Jurassic Park.
Right, and we saw some pictures of him. He looks good.
BD Wong.
What
is it?
BD Wong.
Thank you.
I was concerned because I thought Hugo Strange was always like a Russian, Hungarian, Eastern European type dude, but...
And he may have been.
But from the pictures, it looks good. I just don't want an Asian accent.
Yes.
Oh,
wow, that's really kind of racist.
I don't think it's racist. I don't think it's racist.
Stereotypical?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not racist.
Which leads into
No.
Anyway.
There wouldn't be stereotypes if things weren't true.
Patrick.
All right, transition.
Patrick's always the transition when things get weird.
Actually, yeah, Patrick, you can talk about now your thoughts on the Flash episode of the Flash and Arrow crossover this week.
Okay, let's see if I can remember it.
Yeah. Story first. Do you want me to tell you that?
Can you tell me the story? I'm forgetting.
So the story was that
hold your
basically,
hand.
Kendra Saunders is still and Cisco are still like a thing, kind of.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, Vandal Savage rolls up and is like, "I want you, like I need you," and like all this stuff. And then Cisco decides on his own to take him, or to help ask Barry for help, and they take him to Star City. For protection or whatever. Most of the Flash episode takes place in Star City, and then the other way around for Arrow, it takes place in Central City. And basically they're like, okay, yeah, we'll help you, of course, like we're your friends and blah, blah, blah. But all along, like Vandal Savage knows what's up, and he knows where they're at and everything. Does that help you?
Yeah, that does. Okay, good. I guess I'm going to go on.
So,
I really enjoyed the first part. I liked how Carter Hall wasn't. I was expecting him to be a complete jackass throughout the entire run of it, but he
still
actually
kinda is.
He still is, but he understands that. He understands what these people fight for, so he doesn't go into that cliche where he's constantly going against everyone. He realizes, okay, yeah, these are people on my side, so let me just help them out.
Right.
But he still has his own agenda with Kendra. Kendra's arc into finally being her true self and getting her wings, and I like how she so that was great. I'm just still trying to think.
I just thought, and I hope Carter Hall gets more interesting, because I think Hawkman's a pretty cool character, but I don't know if I like the way the actor's playing.
Yeah, he's kind of doing the same thing that a lot of actors do, where in order to be deep and interesting, they just do completely stoic, kind of stoned face, which I'm not really a fan of.
I think it makes sense for who the character is, or who they're making the character be, which is this dude who's been alive for 206 different lifetimes.
Lifetimes, I say, because he hasn't been alive for the 206 years.
No, but he's been involved in 206 lifetimes. And, I mean, realistically, obviously that would take a toll on you if you've lived 206 different lives. So
right.
I think it makes sense for the character that he's trying to be, where he's just so sick and tired of dying. He knows he's going to die. He just needs to get away. The mission is to get away. Because
I agree with that. I wish I got that, but he was just stoic throughout the entire, for me at least, throughout the entire thing. So I didn't get any much anger or any annoyance with the other characters.
It seemed like I didn't really care if he didn't make it. I was interested in Kendra's thing, and I hope that she survived and stuff. But it's kind of I don't feel emotionally attached to Carter Hall yet.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't think they were doing that yet. I think the purpose was to get more relationship with Kendra, because you first knew her as this girl who was a barista, jitters, and was dating Cisco. Which, side note, I don't like and love Cisco. I think he's really annoying and kind of a douche.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't like Cisco at all in the crossover.
No,
both parts.
No, I mean, sudden jokes. What was it? You're just max my conditioner game strong. That was funny.
That was funny.
But that was the first 10 minutes of the first episode. So I mean that was good. But Cisco was not a favorite, and I want to say even less of a favorite than Laurel, and that's only because I think Laurel had maybe 2 lines the entire crossover.
Yeah, we have to tell Oliver. Well, no shit, Laurel. We have to tell Oliver. Thank you.
Thanks. Always on point.
Who else are we gonna tell? It got really hot in here all of a sudden.
It's like a fucking sauna.
Oh my god.
Sauna.
It's like a sauna.
Actually, I didn't mind Cisco because I understood that he was going off of, this is Kendra's destiny to be with Carter. So I think I would be peeved too that I'm going to just lose this girl automatically without any, pull. So I like in the second part where when Barry time jumps and kind of coerces Cisco to be a man actually and stand up to Carter Hall and kind of try to get his woman back.
Yeah.
It still obviously doesn't work. The second part, to me, was almost, for me, borderline boring, I think. It wasn't that exciting. At least
I think the
main
repetition
plot
with the time travel.
Yeah, the main plot wasn't that interesting. The side plot of it that was hinted at with the part 1 was more interesting, with Oliver pursuing his possibility of having a son.
Yeah, that was good. I really liked how that.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, obviously it's not Connor Hawke. They're not going with that name, but it's Williams, not Oliver Queen's last name. So, And I thought that was really cool that they had him like be playing with the Flash action figures, that they're like making that a thing, that they have the action figures
I
in
like
that world,
Yeah.
and he's fighting Captain Cold and stuff. So my new theory, and I told this to Greg, is the person in the grave is William's mother.
It's either the mother or the kid. It could be the kid.
I don't think they're going to do
go
kids.
that. That'd be kind of dark. I don't know.
Well, the reason I think it's the mother is because I think how much more interesting would it be that he could still feel guilty about it, doesn't blame himself for whatever reason because he doesn't really know her. Yeah, he hooked up once or whatever 9 years ago. He still has to get justice for her. Barry would care because it's about his family, kind of.
Barry knows.
And Barry knows. So he would care. And it would be really, really interesting to now bring William into his world to possibly start training him to deal with like Felicity not being a mother, but now has to be a mother figure.
They could be possibly setting this up as a spin-off series because they only talked about Arrow going on for 5 seasons because that's how long Oliver was in the island.
Right.
So to train him, bring him into his life.
Well, and also I think I remember reading that we're going to see, I keep wanting to say Connor Hawk, but it's William. We're going to see an older version of William in one of the future episodes for Legends of Tomorrow when they go to the future. Just like we'll probably see an older version of Oliver. So we might see it where a little bit older William and a older Oliver are father and son, like sidekick and hero.
I would have to check out the season 4 premiere because I can't remember if he's like bawling at the graveside or if it's just like it was like a sexy cry because.
I think it was like a single man tear.
I think it was a single man tear, but he was very seasons 1 through 3 Oliver Queen with it. He was very serious about it.
Right.
But I do agree with that theory more compared to my theory of it being Diggle's brother. And the main reason I say that is because the way they shot it and like the tone of the scenes, they drug it out more. They wanted you to feel just a little bit more emotion than normal just for this first entrance of these characters.
Right.
So to have that and to like create that emotional bond between the characters is what's really going to sell the fact that one of them dies.
Yeah, because with that gravesite scene, I just felt like that would be someone in Ollie's family, not really in Diggle's family, perhaps. It's just
yeah. It seems a little more like I never thought it was going to be Andy Diggle. I did think, of course, John Diggle, and of course Felicity's probably the big choice for it. Whatever. A lot of people are like, "Oh my God, is Felicity going to die in the mid-season finale?" Like that's how they're making it. Because if you think about it, by the time they come back, the show it'll be February, and that'll probably be October, November, December, January, February. It'd be about 4 months. So it'd probably be close that they could pull it off where they're like, oh, like
I think there's like a promo or something in like on the mid-season finale where like the trickster is like torturing.
Oh, the trailer for the mid-season
Felicity or something like that.
Oh,
Dark is, I thought.
Is it Dark? I thought it was the trickster.
Yeah, Trickster's just for Flash.
Oh, that's right. But that trailer, holy crap.
Oh yeah, we'll get to.
So cool.
Well, no, we can talk about it now. We might as well just talk about it.
Well, I mean, are we done talking about the crossover?
Yeah, crossover to me, all right. In a short sentence, it was not as strong as the first crossover, but a necessary one to set up Legends.
Yeah. It was a necessary one, not really for the characters, but I thought it was still equally enjoyable and was satisfied enough with it.
Yeah, I like the development of Kendra's character and actually got me on board with her and found it more interesting. But yeah, it wasn't like I was going like, yeah, fuck yeah, or like awesome or something like that. It was just
trailer. No. For was it Tuesday's episode? Tuesday's episode was really a big important thing too because they were trying to make Barry faster still, Harry and Caitlin, and they created this new speed chemical that would make him faster. And Patty Spivot, he lost a little bit of points this for me this week. He lost a little bit of points. Patty Spivot sees Harry, in public, follows him into Star Labs, and ends up shooting him in the heart, putting him on a life support. And Jay comes back, who is totally not about this Speed Force chemical, but has to take Velocity 6, but has to take it in order to save Harry's life, which he does, and says, I'm never taking that stuff again, and you can repay me by not giving this stuff to Barry. So we see more Jay. I'm still not satisfied with Jay.
It's very
Yeah.
disappointing.
I want more
Yes.
Jay. But that was another big side plot line for that Tuesday episode was this Velocity 6, because that's really going to push Barry to, one, beat Zoom, and two, depending on how much further they develop this chemical, could get Jay's powers back.
I hope so. He needs his freaking powers.
I mean,
He's so boring without
They're
him.
gonna. He's so boring, and I think the writers know that, which is why they're not having. him
Yeah,
in
he's
the
a
show
lesser
as much.
Harry Wells. Yeah.
He's also a main character on Masters of Sex.
Sex.
So, like, he probably has, I mean, obviously
Yeah.
a busy schedule where they kind of write to also fit him and, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
So, there's a reason he comes and goes.
But we can talk about the trailer for next Flash. Captain Cold, is Heat Wave,
No,
not Heat Wave.
for some reason, they don't really show Heatwave as much anymore.
Well, Captain Cold breaks out the Trickster, a prison.
No, it's Weather Wizard breaks out Cold and Trickster.
Is that what it is?
I think when I read it, yeah, it was the Weather Wizard. It was the second Weather
I've
Wizard.
been mistaken.
Yes.
So he breaks them out, and it's a big. It basically just feels like a giant Joker piece for Mark Hamill. He's kidnapping somebody. He's playing games. He's maniacally laughing.
It's his way of being Joker live action without ever actually having to be
being
Joker.
Joker,
And it's
yeah.
like probably the closest we'll ever get, which is a shame. Unless that Jared Leto being Jason Todd thing proves to be true and they still need a Joker, which then I'm going to start a petition for Mark Hamill to become the Joker. So,
But that's what it looks like, and that's going to be a two-parter.
right.
Which is they're going to have this episode coming up, and then that's
9.
the 9, which is the mid-season finale, and then that episode's going to carry over into January for the mid-season premiere.
Right. Which actually, and this is the episode we're going to see Wally West
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
that's
we will.
exciting.
finally. They've only teased him out this whole season.
What was the trailer for Arrow?
That one wasn't as exciting. That one was just kind of like Dark does some stuff, and like he kind of goes after Oliver as a person instead of Oliver as like the Green Arrow.
Oh, because the whole mayor thing, that was a really cool scene in that last episode.
Yeah, and then somehow Felicity gets trapped in like a glass thing, or probably with poison that's going to get released or something. And then like Oliver and Felicity are like kind of like face to face, like, "Oh, I love you, oh, I love you," and then it kind of like cuts there. It's like, "Oh, is Felicity gonna die or whatever?"
No.
The way they always set these shows up, and they always save them like in the nick of
Yeah,
time kind
yeah.
of thing. So it's kind of like played out.
I did see a picture on social media of Quentin Lance getting really familiar with Felicity's hot stripper mom.
Which I'm pretty sure they've met before, but when they had them like meet at the bar or whatever, they made it seem like they never seen each other. I'm pretty sure they've
Really?
met
I
before.
can't
We'll have, to
remember
go,
that.
we'll have to go back. Well, the one time that she came in season 3, but good for Quentin. See, that's why I don't want. That's why I don't want Quentin to die. That's why I don't want Quentin to die.
I mean, he's already brushed death like what 3 or 4
Because
times.
he's
in the previous
he's
seasons.
growing as a person. You know, the relationship between him and Oliver is growing.
Oh, yeah, he won't have a help in the police force.
And he's
then.
having sex with a smoking hot chick. Like Quentin.
Oliver or Quentin?
Quentin.
Yeah.
Quentin's like
Oliver too. Yeah.
Both Felicity or both smoke women.
Out of 5 stars, season 3 Quentin probably got maybe a 2.
Okay.
Season 4 is probably about getting a 4.5. Season 4 Quentin is doing a great job. Thank you, Paul Blackthorne. We met that one time at Comic-Con, and you were really nice.
Didn't you meet Katie Cassidy? Nope.
I did, but Katie Cassidy, I'm sure she was just super exhausted, and it's like a small-time Comic-Con thing, so she wasn't as animated as Paul Blackthorne.
Right.
But, I mean, Katie Cassidy's still really attractive, so that was kind of nice.
Well, I guess we'll end it on that note.
That's nice.
For Geekcast, the podcast, I'm Dan Whitehead.
Greg St. Clair,
Patrick Howard.
Party on.
party on.
Party on.